Hey, happy Wednesday, everyone. Hope you are doing well. It is a beautiful day here in San Diego, middle of the week, and it is the last week before we go on break for the holidays. The Christmas spirit is in the air. You can see me dressed up in my Christmas sweater, and yeah, we're excited about the time of the year. And this is In the Raw, Unscripted, Unpracticed, Unedited Conversation. We've been talking about, we've been made to make a difference. We're made to make a difference. And we've been talking about different ways we can do that. And in the last video, we're talking about how to do it quietly. It should be quietly. And we're talking about, the fact that, we don't need to make any noise when we're making a difference. We don't need to go out there and announce it or post it on social media, online, and I like to say toot our horns. We don't need to do that. Whenever we help somebody, whenever we do this, we need to do this quietly, and it all boils down to this: God uses common people to do uncommon things. The disciples were common. They were regular guys. Peter knew this more. He knew more about bass and boats than he did about the Roman culture. Most of the disciples, if not all of them, had never traveled more than a week from their hometown. They weren't the most predictable guys either. Peter told Jesus to forget the cross. John wanted Jesus to torch a city. When Jesus needed people to pray with him, they slept. When he needed friends, they ran. But after the death and burial and resurrection of Christ, 6 weeks later, we see these guys literally on fire, and they're changing the world. They changed the world. So we're common people just like them. Most of us sit on the sidelines. Most of us, we're not straight A students. Or if you're still a student, you're not necessarily a straight A student. Most of us aren't selected to lead an organization. We're just common people. And the big message of the book of Acts is that God can use regular people just like you and me, literally, to change the world. There's no indication that Jesus chose his disciples for any other reason except this: that when he said, "Follow me," they said, "I will." What would happen if when Jesus says, "Follow me," we say the same thing? As I said, God uses common people like you and me to do uncommon things. And, God uses young people to go to Africa and make a difference over there. He uses people to go to nursing homes to make a difference there. And he uses other people, that maybe grew up with special needs to help other people with special needs. They didn't have to learn a special skill or to be experts to make a difference. They just had to be obedient to what God was asking them to do. And you can see that, when you see these people, they'll get as much out of it as people they're serving. The people that are changed the most sometimes are the people that are serving, not the people that are being served. And it kind of reminds me of that parable of the Good Samaritan. There's this guy who was robbed and beaten and left for dead on the side of the road. And two men passed by and ignored him. Finally, a third man came, a man from Samaria, who saw the man on the side of the road, and he felt compassion and he took care of him. He had kind eyes that met desperate ones, strong hands that helped weak ones. God changes lives, and Jesus tells us at the end of the parable, go and do the same. So that is what God is calling us to do, to go and do the same. We don't need to make a lot of noise, like I said. We can do this quietly without anybody really noticing. If God sees, I think I said this in the previous video, God sees what we do in secret, and he will praise us in public. God will lift us up. God will make sure that we are honored by what we do. We don't need to do that with that motivation. All we need to do is just say, here I am. I'm willing to go. I'm willing to do it. I want to be part of this. I want to make a difference in somebody's life. And when we have that heart, God will always, He will always come through for us. All right. Well, I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, amazing rest of your week. We will talk to you soon.